and I'm back with a new lesson. Well, in today's lesson we are going to learn how to use should, could, would with the past participle verb. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of people, when they use sentence structures like I could have done it, I would have been there, you should have come with me, and you wonder where do these come from and how do we use them, right? So in today's lesson we are going to learn how to use should, could, would with a past participle verb. Okay, now in the first example, I should have completed my graduation. Okay, now first let's understand should is the modal auxiliary verb. Okay, so what does this mean? Now supposing I do not have should in my sentence, you will read it as I have completed my graduation. That means you've already done your graduation. But the minute I add I should have completed my graduation, if you really read and analyze the sentence, it means that you haven't completed your graduation. Alright? So here we use should with the present perfect tense or with the past participle verb when you want to say you should have done something or something that was correct in the past. Okay, so probably there is some sort of regret and you're like, I should have done it, I should have completed it. Something that you should have done in the past and you haven't done it. Okay, now let's take another example. You're traveling and you lose your cell phone. So when you come home and tell your mom, I've lost my cell phone, the first thing she tells you is, you should have been more careful, right? That means that was a past duty or an obligation that you should have done but you didn't do. So remember, you use should with have and a verb in the third form when something was right or correct to do in the past, or probably a past obligation or a duty that you haven't fulfilled. Okay friends, so I hope this structure is clear. Now let's go to the next one. I could have completed my graduation. Now here could is a modal verb. Okay. So could is a past possibility. Now like should, even in this case you haven't completed your graduation, but when will you say I could have completed my graduation? You use it when it was a past possibility or probably you made a decision, you chose not to do it. Okay. So when you say I could have come for the movie, that means you were capable of going for the movie but you didn't. Probably you chose not to do. So that is the time you use could with the verb in the past participle. So you always have could have with the verb in the past. Alright, please remember it was your choice to do something or not to do something in the past. Now the third structure, I would have completed my graduation. Would is the modal here. Okay. But you say I would have completed my graduation when this also means that you haven't completed your graduation, but here you have there is a circumstance probably that you faced in the past. So I'll say if I would have completed my graduation, if I hadn't faced a financial crisis. Okay, that means you were bound by certain circumstances and you couldn't do it. It was not in your hand, it was beyond control. So here you didn't have a choice. Alright, please remember that. So you say I would have completed my graduation. So even in this you haven't completed your graduation, due to certain reasons that were not in your hands, you say, I would have completed my graduation. Now, for example, you take a project home and you have a deadline and you have no electricity supply. So you cannot use your PC at home. So the next day when your boss asks you, why didn't you do your work? You say, I could have completed my project. The minute you say that, you're fired, because this means that you chose not to do it. But if it were not in your hands, there was no electricity supply, the correct thing to say is, I would have completed my project, but there was no electricity. So remember, all these 3 sentence structures are correct. If you really analyze 3 of them, they all have one meaning, that the graduation is not completed. You haven't done your graduation, but depending on the situation, you use should, could and would. Again, should is used with the verb in the third form, should have completed, when you have certain regret. It could be a past obligation not fulfilled. It could be the right or the correct thing that you should have done in the past. Okay. Could have completed when you made a decision, when you had a choice to do it, but you chose not to. So you use could. And would is when you are faced with circumstances, things are not in your hands, and well, you just go with the flow. So you say, I would have completed my graduation. Okay friends, this is the difference between should, would and could have with the verb in the third form. Okay, this brings me to the end of this lesson. I hope you enjoyed watching this lesson. Well, to just see how much you've learned, I have a test for you. So please click on the link in the description given below this video. I'll be back soon with a new lesson. Till then, take care and bye.